It started like every first contact mission. The Council had been informed of a weak signal from a backwater system. We spent 2 days translating it, and all it said was, "Hello, from Earth." It had been some time since our last first contact, so the collective was abuzz with excitement. Every species hoped to be picked for the first contact mission, so they could ally themselves with the new species. The Surf were the species selected, as they were the closest to what a human looks like. They were large and had arms and legs, leading to a base with a head above it, though that was the only similarity between the two species. The Surf were a laid-back species, with a history of combat, but were calm and patient, but could be extremely vicious if cornered. The combat that they did have was tamed compared to the rest of the collective, so we thought them the perfect choice. Maybe it was an error in the Surf systems, or just a simple mistake, but the Surf had sent a ship to Earth with a captain known for being slightly more violent than his counterparts. Captain Argon. He was a well-known war hero, and was extremely arrogant. Argon had ordered the execution of his own squad, after they had refused a simple order, and then executed the execution squad after they refused to end their friends. Simply put, the Surf had sent a psychotic war hero to a first contact mission. The humans, on the other hand, were so elated to finally have friends in the universe, and were so worried about first contact they had sent a ship with no weapons, and a crew of children ranging from 16 to 20 years of age, in order to not seem threatening in any way. The ship was full of gifts and flowers and other pleasantries. They simply wanted to be friends. The videos from that day spread far and wide across the collective. It started simple enough. Captain Argon had docked with the human ship and made his way to the meeting room with his guards. Once in the room, he waited 2 minutes before a young human female named Gaia had entered the room. She placed a large meal on the table, and 2 other humans had walked in and left an assortment of gifts for the captain. The young human managed to say, "Hello, and welcome to Sol," in broken Surf. They had apparently been studying our languages in an attempt to not be rude on first contact. She simply smiled at the captain, and that was enough. The captain stood up, knocking the food and table aside, grabbed the young human by the throat, and crushed her windpipe. We later learned that the captain had episodes of PTSD after a war against an insectoid species, and the human smile was apparently enough to trigger it. As soon as the captain had done so, the 2 guards, maybe in fear of disobeying the captain, opened fire on the other humans in the room, killing them both. The captain ordered them all captured and flayed, so that's what his squad did. They captured every last human on the ship and cut them open as they screamed and begged. Only 1 human was left cowering in the corner when the captain seemed to have returned to his senses. But it was too late. The humans had expected a friendly greeting, and were broadcasting a live stream from within the ship. The entire human race had watched as the Surf had his squad slaughter a ship full of children and leave a single one to starve to death in the destroyed ship. The collective had learned of the humans' plans to livestream it, and had also learned to connect to the signal and watch. The silence was too much. On 500,000 planets across hundreds of galaxies, not a single sound was made. Not a sound, except the sound of a human child whimpering and sobbing, covered in the blood and innards of its species. Then the stream stopped. For 30 years, not a single word came from humans. No signals, no ships, no war. Nothing. Then, in a single message across all of our communication devices appeared, "We will have blood." Almost immediately, the Surf stations across the universe began to set off alarms. Anywhere where there was Surf, an alarm blared. In stores, on stations, ships with a single Surf crewmate. The alarm continued for an hour until it ceased. Then the unthinkable happened. News stations began to play a video of the Surf cradle. Their homeworld 1 second, it was fine. Then it exploded into dust and rock. Then another video, another explosion, and another planet gone. Then another, and another. We had seconds to react, before 572 planets were annihilated, and trillions of lives gone in seconds. The serfs screamed in horror, but it didn't matter. Soon every single one of their planets was gone. It took humans 10 minutes to annihilate all that the serf were, and we could do nothing but watch. Then another message appeared again to all who could see it. You sent them, so your blood will run too. A chill ran down the spines of everyone who read the message, and we waited, knowing what was to come, but it never came. 3 days and not a single explosion. So the council decided that the best choice was to attempt to contact the humans and ask them to stop. So that's what we did. Just like the humans did, we decided that we would try to show that we meant no harm. We sent a ship with no weapons, and a crew of trained children to send a message to the humans that we were sorry, and to try and explain what happened. The ship made it to Sol and sent his message. The humans received it, and we waited. Then they shot the ship into dust. The council, shocked and appalled, decided that the humans were too far gone, and we wouldn't be safe on planets, so we built large arches and converted moons into ring worlds for every species. Too afraid to set foot on a planet that could just be destroyed in seconds, for another 30 years we were safe. The humans had not blown up another planet, and had not asked for blood again. Then, a ship the size of a small cruiser landed on a docking pad of the Gaia station, named after the human child, since this station was the closest to Sol. Nobody paid it any mind, assuming it was just a new type of ship, until its door opened, and from it a human walked out. Everyone froze and stared at the human, and it simply began to walk forward down the docking ramp, walked over to a main street. Its armor pitch black, and its head covered in a helmet with a bright yellow visor, one weapon in its arms, and another attached to his hip. It walked past the crowds who froze as it walked past them, until it found what it was looking for. A young serf, around its early 20s, was eating at a stall, enjoying his meal, when it heard a loud noise from behind it. When it turned its head, it was greeted by plasma. The human walked out of the stall and back to his ship and flew away. Soon after, every ship and ring world banished all their remaining serf to space, where they were slowly picked off by the human ships. It has been 500 years since the humans last asked for blood, and 500 years since the eradication of the serf. Every now and then, you can run into a human on some ring worlds. They never speak to or bother those around them, but they are always watching, looking and hunting for remaining serf. They will never find any more of us. We took all that remained and ran as far as we could. We still run, even if we know they cannot find us.